But what I want to explain here is that the new management decides to change the original writings of L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes.
And one of them, they even canceled some of them. They even decided not to publish some of the books. And one of the ones that I want to show today is one that is called, because I want to talk about religious shunning and the devastation that that brings. Mm-hmm. Here is a policy letter that he wrote on 15 November 1968, which is called Cancellation of Disconnection.
Yes.
And ever since then, he realized that we don't need to disconnect. We don't need to have, like in the Catholic Church, you know, what is they call in the Catholic Church?
Excommunication.
Excommunication. And so this new
management... just read, it's only one, the policy letter is only one sentence long. Why don't you just read it?
I will read it.
Mm-hmm.
HCOPL, 15 November 1968, cancellation of disconnection. Since we can now handle all types of disconnection as a condition, is canceled. L. Ron Hubbard, founder.
That's good. So that's pretty clear.
That's pretty clear.
Now, you know, most of our audience doesn't know what the heck disconnection is. So why don't you define it? Is it any different from excommunication?
Yes, it's much different because in the Catholic Church, people don't lose their families, they don't lose their jobs, they don't lose their friends. In this case, you do. In Scientology, when you are disconnected or order disconnection, you lose your job, you lose your friends. You are what they call now considered a suppressive person or SP, and that is considered like a criminal. And it's a sort of slander in your person, because if you work for a Scientology business, then you are considered a criminal and then you lose your job. Your friends stop talking to you, and if you work on anything related to Scientology, you're out. All your friends, all your relatives, if they're Scientologists, and all your business fall apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty... I think the church makes it clear to the person that if they don't follow the rules exactly, they will suffer this punishment of being kicked out of the church. And then anybody who is a Scientologist who communicates to the person who's been kicked out also gets kicked out.
Right.
So, and a lot of people work with other Scientologists, so they would lose their livelihood. I mean, you know, if somebody works for IBM or General Electric, they're not going to lose their income if they get declared a suppressive person by the Church of Scientology.
No, right. I have a friend, for example, who has been a counselor for 30 years. Mm-hmm. She's in her mid-60s, and she's now declared a suppressive person. She has never done any other job in the last 30 years, so now that she's considered a criminal, nobody talks to her, and her livelihood is gone. They don't care.
Yeah, it's very... there's not very much compassion exhibited by the organization currently.
Not at all, not at all. And many people have lost their children. You're one of them.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw your child? 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
No, we did see him a couple of years ago, and he did talk to us briefly. But, you know, it's the thing about it is that the church has told my son lies about me, and I can't defend myself because he's not allowed to talk to me directly. So that's what happens when somebody is declared a suppressive person or expelled by the Church of Scientology. The church then often tells lies about the person, which justifies their action of kicking the person out.
Right, and then you cannot explain to them.
You can't explain to your friends and they believe the lies because, right. You know, I remember one staff member who was kicked out, and the church told people that he was a pedophile. So of course, you know, you think, well, that's a good justification for kicking this person out. But of course we know that that was probably not true. I've talked to people who've been kicked out of the church, and I've told them what I heard from the church about them, and they laughed at me and said, that's ridiculous, that never happened.
Well, that is called slander in the legal term, you know, because they actually say that the person, by telling that they are suppressive and that you can no longer talk to them, is equivalent of saying that you are a criminal. And not only that, they add the lies, like in your friend that they call him a pedophile. All of that is in the legal word, is slandering. And the most amazing thing is that not only you and I have now been expelled and we can no longer communicate, the very wife of L. Ron Hubbard, Mary Sue Hubbard, was as well, you know.
Well, I don't think she was declared a suppressive person or expelled. I mean, I don't think her children disconnected from her, right?
Well, here...
But she was denigrated by the current management to some extent.
Yes, there is...
Status was denigrated.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. And here's an article that was written by Michael Moore, the president of the International Free Zone Association, which is a group of Scientologists outside the church. And he mentions here that when Mary Sue Hubbard, they didn't even make a memorial or anything to let the people know that she had died. Actually, Scientologists don't even know that she had died, which is amazing. And so she was also considered a persona non grata, the very wife of the founder of Scientology. That goes to show you the links.
It's if Laura Bush died, and they try to hide the fact that that George Bush tried to hide the fact that his wife died, kind of.
Exactly.
This is a principal person in Scientology. She was not only Hubbard's wife, but she ran large parts of the organization
and
with him.
And she helped him develop some of the technology of Scientology. Yes. They worked together hand in hand on many of the procedures of Scientology. She was his most important assistant in life, as a wife, as a person, as everything to him. And now she died as a nobody. Not even the church recognized that, because the new management, whenever you don't agree with their alterations of that technology, you're out. I have a list of people here, of the very closest people of L. Ron Hubbard. They are all also expelled, considered criminal, psychotic, you name it. And I'll tell you a couple of them just to show you. You have, for example, Otto Roos, or how you pronounce it?
Otto Roos.
Otto Roos. He was a personal friend of L. Ron Hubbard. He was declared. You have Ken Urquhart. He was LRH Butler. He was his personal communicator for 15 years, and you're going to tell me that L. Ron Hubbard would have, for 15 years in his life, someone who is psychotic or criminal?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. And here's a list of all the people who were close associates of him. They are now out and declared or considered persona non grata. Mm-hmm. Management likes to alter the technology because they have their own agenda. What? I don't know, but definitely not Scientology.
Yeah, we can't figure out what their agenda is.
The thing is, anybody that disagrees with them is expelled. So here we have a list of what they consider the Scientology enemies. And this list is about 15 years old. So it has become a lot larger in the last 15 years, I assure you. And look at this. It goes page after page after page after page.
Yeah, hundreds of people.
Hundreds of people all over the world. They lost their friends, their relatives, their jobs, their livelihood, their religion, their freedom of religion, because some of them are not allowed to talk, or some of them are very afraid to talk.